Hey, 3D Basics class. It's week 11. Hopefully you enjoyed a week off and got to do a little spring breaking. Today we're going to cover two methods for modeling a character. One is the kind of traditional modeling, box modeling method where you're extruding and doing loop cuts. The second is going to be using sculpting, and I'll talk about why you would choose one versus the other in use cases. First, I just want to remind you that you should be well on your way working with working on your assignment 5, your diorama, one of those pronunciations, that will be due before we Zoom next Thursday, the 30th of March. Looking forward to seeing that. I've heard from a couple of you about your ideas, so I'm really excited to see how that is going. So we're beginning the character creation and animation chunk of this class, which is sort of the last major chunk. So this week we're talking about modeling. Next week we're going to talk about rigging and animating a character. And your assignment 6 will be about animating a character. I will provide a character, a rigged character for you to animate for your assignment 6. So you do not need to create a character. If it's something you're interested in, I absolutely encourage you to follow along closely with this lecture and next week's lecture so you can see how to do it yourself. So let's jump over to Blender. Let's talk about modeling a character. Okay, so the first method is going to be box modeling, or just like regular modeling. So in both cases, I encourage you to find a reference image. So I searched the internet for a humanoid in a T pose. So let me Shift A. I'm going to add an image, a reference image, and let me find my T pose, and then we'll talk about what that even is. So okay, T pose. You've probably seen something like this before. A character with their arms out. So this is called the T pose. And the reason we model characters in this way is so that A, things are symmetrical, and B, the limbs are kind of very clearly, away from the other parts of the body. So like the legs aren't touching, the arms aren't touching, or like kind of at their side. And so that is so that you can move this character, move the arms in a way that you want. So like you can put it in different poses, and also so that clothes and things are very easy to kind of add on top of arms that are sticking out and stuff like that. So it makes it easier for future uses of your character. Okay, so modeling. So I'm also just going to turn the transparency down on this a little bit because it's a little distracting. If I can turn the opacity down here. So first, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to get the outline of the body right. And then an important step is to kind of add in loop cuts so that we have like sort of even geometry, because by default, as I'm going to be extruding this, it's going to be like I'm going to have some long polygons, some short polygons, some like small ones, some big ones, and ultimately the reason you want to do this is, or the reason you would want to do this method is so that you can have nice even topology, similarly sized polygons from the get-go. Whereas if you were to start sculpting this, you would have just like a mess of triangles that don't really match up. And you would ultimately want to redo that with, they call it retopology, with nice even polygons. So you kind of trace over it. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself a little bit. Okay, so I'm just going to start with this and hopefully not spend too much time on it. So first thing I want to do is edit mode. And I just realized I didn't put my keystroke thing on. Okay. And I want to do X-ray select, and I want 3 for face select, almost like these. Delete the left-hand side. Okay, then we go to our modifiers. I'm adding the mirror modifier here. And I think to begin, this is maybe a personal preference. I think to begin, I want to start with a subdivision surface on here, just so I can get the sense of what the shape's going to be. Sorry, it's behind my head as I'm working. Okay, so I want to turn off X-ray select just so I can see a little better on top. And I'm also going to turn on cage now, maybe not yet. Okay, so now I'm just gonna start extruding, and here we go. Maybe I do want X-ray select. No. Okay, I want to select this top face and go back to my front view. I'm gonna e-extrude like this, kind of maybe up to the armpits. I'm gonna e-extrude again, kind of up to the neck here. I'm gonna grab this face. I'm gonna e-extrude out like this, maybe scale it down. E-extrude out to the elbow. E-extrude out to the wrist, scale it down some more. Maybe G move it here. And then maybe e-extrude like this, and we'll work on the fingers later. Okay. Now here, oh, and I want to make sure that I have clipping on like this. And I bet I ruined it by not having clipping. Oh no, okay, it worked. Okay, that's fine. Right, if I G move that, yeah, okay. If I do, okay. All right, so if I turn clipping off now, and I go 3 and I e-extrude like this, and G move that apart, now we've got the 2 different legs. I'll turn clipping back on. Actually, so I'll kind of G move this around, move this here, scale that out maybe, just so it doesn't touch, and then e-extrude down to the knees, scale that down. E-extrude again. This is like the calf. E-extrude to the foot like that. Cool. And now here what we can do, let's see. And I'm doing this very quickly. You would probably spend more time on this. Maybe I will e-extrude and then scale this down and kind of G move it down like this to kind of make a little neck situation happen here like this. And we can e-extrude here, e-extrude out, but then scale this up again, and then kind of e-extrude to the head. Okay. Okay, so this is like very crude. And then, oh yeah, so then we probably need to do the feet. So you know what else I didn't do? What I should do is take this our reference image and just kind of whoops, back into object mode. Grab my reference image and GY move this back. Let's go to my side view. And I realize my side view is facing the other way, but that's fine. Let me Shift A, add a reference here, open my T-pose, scale this up. And actually, you know what? I should try to match the scale. What's the scale of this one here? It's 3.867, so I'll just copy this value and paste it onto this one here. 3.8. Okay. On all of these, X, Y, and Z. And then I'm going to rotate the Z minus 90 so that it's facing the other way. There we go. Okay. Okay. And then, you know, that's probably fine. That's probably fine. Okay, and then I need to GX move it this way. Okay. Okay, so the bit I had forgotten was my feet here. So let me just maybe add a loop cut here like that. And then do 3 for face select and just grab the front part of the foot here and e-extrude out like this. And maybe e-extrude twice. Okay. Now we can try to kind of dial these in a little bit. So you can see, like right now, I kind of consciously added a few extra loop cuts just to sort of attempt to make the polygons more of a normal size. But you can see, like here, there's some longer, skinnier ones, And up here, there's some shorter, fatter ones, like in the neck like that. That's okay, but our goal here is to have like a pretty uniform shape for all of our polygons. So what I might do here is I might turn let's see, I might turn on where would it be? I always forget. Oh yeah, you actually have to open up the empty and click on the image here, and here you can change the opacity. Okay. And then I'll turn on X-ray select, so there's like a little bit of opacity here as well. So I can try to line these up. Okay. We're gonna name cube to Chester is the name of my person. Okay, edit mode. And I've got X-ray select on, so I'll probably just kind of start to move these things around so I can start to get the shape right. And I may end up adding a few like loop cuts along the way just to kind of make things, try to have some more options. So like here I'm noticing that like, it's tough to kind of get the shape of the head right. So I probably need another loop cut through here, through the middle. And that way I can start to have a little bit more control over the shape of the head. I'm just trying to match it up with the object behind. Maybe I'll kind of ignore the nose for now. You can see the back kind of moves like this. This is a pretty muscular dude, so we'll just have to kind of see how that goes. Just kind of moving things around. This obviously isn't the perfect model either. Let's see, his shoulder kind of goes up like that. Now, for some people, it may make more sense to turn on the on cage on the modifier here. Sometimes it's easier to kind of see where things are ending up, but for me, I am wanting it off for now, so I can see the result where I'm actually moving these points. Because like if you have on cage on and your G moving, it's not actually representative of, like, you can see that my mouse is moving further than the vertices are moving. So to me, it's kind of throwing me off, because if I move it this far like this, and I go back to the actual mesh, it's like, oh, that seems kind of messy to me. So anyway, it's got a big old butt. So here, this is a case where I might add another loop cut here just to kind of make his waist a little bit skinnier. So I'm going to G kind of move this in here. And then we can kind of have his butt stick out a little bit here like this. And maybe even another one here. So we can really kind of have his fanny sticking out. So hopefully you can kind of see where I'm trying to line up the mesh with my reference image in the background. It's a little bit tricky. Let's see, so the thigh is looking okay here. I definitely need another loop cut here, because this is where it gets a little bit skinnier. And I'm just using this as a reference. It's not going to be perfect. Let's see, it's because his knee kind of sticks out like that. I don't know. This is where our proportions are getting real kooky. So Control R, adding a loop cut here. And just here's where it starts to get really skinny. It's his ankle. Oh yeah, my feet are kind of way out of line here. And also this, I'm realizing that this wasn't the most perfect, it wasn't an exactly orthographic view of this person's body, but that's okay. So I'm going to actually turn on auto merge vertices here, so that when I slide this vertex into this one and I go GG to slide that in, I'm just going to turn that into a little triangle for me. And maybe we come back and revisit this later. I want the ankle to be a little bit skinnier, but not too skinny. And it's you also kind of have to keep in, like, you have to look at lining it up, but then you also have to look at the body and say, like, oh, does this look like a human foot? Not really, not at the moment. And so this one I think needs to come in as well. So like it's just a game of like trying to get it closer and closer with every action that you make. you know, and the foot is maybe one of the least important places. I need to try to concentrate my efforts. Okay. Let's work on the front again now. So obviously, yeah, what happened? Why? So like looking at the side here, I feel like I lined that up almost perfectly, and now looking at the front, it looks like it's totally off. So I need to just make sure, I need to verify that my reference images are kind of at the same height. So I'm looking at the position here of this one. So it is 0, 0, 0 on both of these. But it doesn't feel right to me. Oh, because I need to go back to, sorry, object mode. Let's look at these. Okay, let's look at the Z value here. So this one is at minus 1.1. I should try to have this one be at the same here like that. Does that do anything? No. Object mode. Well, regardless, I'm just going to try to get it closer like this. There we go. I want to turn my opacity down even further. And maybe it's because, yeah, these were not made to scale. So maybe I even need to like scale this up a little bit. No, scale it down a little bit. I'm just trying to line it up with what I already have. Yeah, okay. And it's a game you gotta play. Okay, so now let's try to make the head more of a normal shape here. So now with this orthographic view, we gotta kind of try to reel this in a little bit. Oh, and you know what? I'm realizing now that this is not perfectly on axis. So you can see like my center line is a little bit off from the center line of this guy here. So I'm just gonna, I keep forgetting to go back into object mode. So I'm gonna grab my reference image here. Why isn't it doing anything? Oh, it's because I was doing the wrong one. Shoot. And I keep grabbing the wrong one. Here we go. Put this back. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Grab this one. Front view. Let's get this in here. Let's try to put it exactly on the halfway. Like that. So you can see even this guy, like when I get down, the legs aren't exactly symmetrical. So we're just playing with it. Okay, okay. Back to Chester, tab for edit. Let's try to get your jowls into place here. Trying to get the head to be the right shape. Bring your neck in a little bit tighter. Shoulders a little stronger here like this. So here's another case where I might need a loop cut here to kind of give him these big muscular shoulders. Bring this one out. Well, no, because these need to go. One of these needs to go in. Whoops, undo. We can deal with that later. See, I'm having a hard time reading my mesh, seeing if things are lining up here. Okay, this is the rest here. Maybe scale this down. And G. Right now he's just got like a paddle hand, but we'll work on the fingers a little bit more later. Okay. So we might need another loop cut here, so that the armpit can be a little bit more pronounced. And there, his hips come out a little. Oops, grabbed too much there. His hips can come out a little bit wider. His legs start to come out a little bit. So here I made this a little bit too wide. Wow, and he gets so narrow here. Whoops. Undo that. Let me just grab both of these out. So I'm just trying to line things up. I definitely need another loop cut here because he gets a lot skinnier. Bring these in, bring these in. Okay. Okay, I think it's doing all right. We're starting to look very humanoid here. It's got kind of a big chest, but that's okay. So from this point, I obviously don't have a top-down view, so I kind of need to just make a little bit of an educated guess on what the appropriate width of like shoulder, well, not shoulders, but like kind of the arms are. So we do a top-down view. Let's tab into edit mode. Here it's a little bit tricky to make sure you're grabbing the right things. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of grab all of these, bring these in a little bit. Grab all of these, bring these in a little bit. Bring this in. And we may need to kind of, you sort of need to eyeball it a little bit here. But that's actually okay. I think I need to bring the front of his chest in a little bit. Like this. So one thing one of the other reasons that I like to not do the on cage is so that I can see if things the like mesh itself on the outside is starting to get a little bit crazy. Like here, I feel kind of weird about these points being kind of at such an angle, and I feel like that's being reflected here too, with just kind of as I'm eyeballing it. Okay, but I don't want to spend too much time on this. Let's get some fingers going. So I'm just I gotta kind of look at where our hand is. So I'm gonna add a loop cut here. And maybe another loop cut here like this. And so this one here, this face is gonna be where the thumb comes out. So I'm just gonna extrude this out. And maybe kind of G move it like this. R rotate. I should be doing my top down view. R rotate. And then, fingers. Let's think of the best way to do this. So what I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some new cuts. So I'm going to double G to bring that back down. But I'm going to make 3 cuts in here with the knife tool. Not loop cuts, and I know that I cautioned you against doing this before, but part of the process with us here doing this box modeling is we're going to clean up the geometry after the fact. So I'm just gonna go knife tool, and I got to make sure that maybe I'll turn off X-ray like this. So I'm gonna make a cut here. Oh yeah, so I really need to be careful that I'm not like going way. Oh no, that's fine. Spacebar for that. I'm going to cut here like this. 1, 2, click, and then spacebar, and then another one. Click. Whoops. And I want to start right on the edge there, and another one, spacebar. Okay, so I'll have 4 spaces for fingers here, and then I want to extrude individuals like this. E-extrude. And so now I believe if I take each of these, let me do W for my selection tool. No, that didn't work. Right, if I selected these, I should be able to extrude individual. There we go. Okay, and then we got 4 fingers. Okay. Oh, but it keeps chunking them together. Okay, so I'll probably just do it one at a time. So just select this one, and I can just go back to my selection tool. E to extrude that one. There's the pointer. There's the middle finger. There's the ring finger. There's the pinky finger. Okay. And again, we'll come back and clean this up. So you can see, and it might actually be okay with this, how we've subdivided it here. You can kind of looking at the result, you can see that these come together in a nice fashion here. There's not a lot of crazy n-gons, but we'll examine it closer once we apply the subdivision surface modifier. Okay. So now top-down view, and it might be helpful to have a reference image of a hand going on here, because obviously this is a little ridiculous, but I'm just going to kind of G move this one out here, G move this, move this one, G move this one. Maybe I scale this up. So each of these probably needs, whoops, scale it up. We'll go looking at our front view too. We also got to make sure that we don't have crazy thick fingers. So I'm going to select turn on X-ray select. I'm going to grab all these and just kind of G move these up. So we've got a little bit skinnier fingers. Again, you are witnessing something that is not a strength of mine. So each of these definitely needs another loop cut in here for, like, you know, knuckles and whatever. Maybe even 2. And maybe your character doesn't have knuckles, or just doesn't even have fingers. That they just have like little paddles for hands, and maybe that's fine for you too. But yeah, use reference images if you need to. So like pinky fingers are a little like skinnier and smaller, right? I'm probably gonna end up spending too much time on this, so just like stop me. No, you can't. You're trapped. You're having to watch this entire thing. I promise I'm almost done. I won't spend too much more time on this. The other thing that I kind of struggle with personally with character creation is keeping the proportions of bodies, you know, reasonable. So like looking at this, like I wonder if his hands are like going to be way too small or something like that. And also like, what is the pose of your hand right now? So what I might do is I might take all of these things and just kind of rotate them this way, and then maybe take the thumb and kind of move it down to more of a natural position like this. I'm definitely spending too much time on this right now. Not important. And then even these need to come down. Oops, and I gotta grab this vertex as well. Shoot. Grab these and these and these. And bring this down. Aha, there we go. Okay, that's a little bit more normal. Okay, but good for now. Okay. His fingers are a little funky. That's okay. We'll fix it. Nope, I'm gonna fix it right now. This one. Oh yeah, there's a vertex down here that's causing problems. Yes, there we go. There we go. I knew you were hiding. Fingers seem long, but whatever. It's good. Wrist needs to come in. Wrists are usually a little bit smaller. These two can come in. This one can come in a lot more. Okay. There we go. All right, so I'm pretty satisfied with this right now. It actually looks not bad. I do think that like maybe, okay, so I'm looking at it without the X-ray on. Maybe I might just make a couple more little adjustments. The head seems a little bit skinny to me. Let's go edit mode. I'm just gonna grab these ones right here and just kind of pull it out just a little bit. I didn't realize I was kind of that far off on some of these like interior bits here. What is this one? That one's in the back. Okay. So yeah, I'll grab these ones, go back to my front view, kind of, oops, grab these and this, go back to my front view, just kind of pull them out. I want them to be like a little bit sturdier. Yeah, and once again, like I feel like, yeah, whatever. But now he seems kind of chunky. I don't like that. Undo. Okay, there we go. And you guys, okay. Crisis. So check this out. So you can see that there's this kind of cut in the middle here. That's because as I was doing this, I did not, when I extruded this bit, I didn't have clipping turned on. So you can see that like all of these bits here, like if I go 3 and I pull this apart, oh no. But why is there that cut in the middle there like that? Well, we'll remedy that. Okay. Okay, so looking at, whoops, I gave it away a little bit. Hold on, undo. Sorry. So one note, a couple weeks ago I talked about the ordering of modifiers. So check this out. So I mentioned how subdivide and mirror, the ordering is important with that. So right now I have the mirror happening first and then the subdividing. Notice, you know, I have this chunk, these weird sets of faces on the inside of him that will fix. But if I switch the order of these, if I go subdivide first, then mirror, look at the difference. He's like split in half. And that's because, you know, the clipping, the clipping was on and the clipping was off, so you have to like be careful with that. Okay, but rearrange this. So the mirror happens first and the subdivide. And before we apply these, ultimately we need to apply these. But what I want to just do is like take a look at the size of my polygons, and I think I did a pretty good job. They're all like pretty evenly sized, pretty evenly spaced out. You can see that there's a few spots where it's narrower. You know, especially like around the hands where there's a little bit more detail, but that's acceptable. In fact, that's usually how it works. It's where there's smaller features and more details, you're going to have a little bit smaller polygons. But I think we did a pretty good job. Okay, so now the thing we need to do is apply the modifiers. So we can do Control A to bring up your Apply menu, and this is going to be Visual Geometry to Mesh. So like how it looks, it's then going to convert it to a mesh that looks exactly like it. Okay, so we do that. Our modifiers go away, and now if I go Tab into Edit mode, you can see that we have all of our polygons here working just fine. And looking at this a little bit closer, I think, you know, I maybe could have done a little bit better job with the kind of the size. Like here, they're a little bit long. Same with on the torso here. I maybe could have had like another feature somewhere in the middle here. Okay, let's deal with all of these things on the inside here. Let's see, maybe I turn off X-ray select, and I kind of just need to select all these faces here if I get the right angle on it. Face select, I want all these. I'm gonna just kind of try to shift click. I really made a mess for myself here. And I'm gonna select all these on the inside. So just again, be careful with the clipping and the mirror modifier, selecting all these on the inside. Luckily there weren't too many, and I can just kind of grab them like this. I kind of got to get up into his head. I'm inside your head, dude. Okay, selecting all that. Okay, and then I'm going to delete and delete faces. Okay, great. The other kind of result of that was his like sternum kind of sticks out a little bit, so I might just grab these. And maybe I'll do, yeah, maybe if I just go GY and kind of bring this in a little bit, is that okay? Sure. That looks all right. Maybe just this point needs to come out. GY. Okay. All right. Okay, and really, like, there's the choice to apply those modifiers. Is not always the right choice for you. Maybe you wanted to do more, like you were adding eyes or something like that. So, and actually maybe I have enough undos here that I can go back before I did that. And I can talk you through how you do that. Go. Probably not. Yeah, don't have enough undos. Make sure you're saving. But you could, what you could do if you wanted to continue to edit this, you could, again, do a front view. Do X-ray select, face select, get the left half like this. Try to get as close as you can. Get all the ones on the left. Whoops. Holding down the shift key, give me everything like this. Hopefully you can guess where I'm going with this. Get these. Get them all down there. Delete everything on the left, delete faces, and go ahead and add your mirror modifier back on there with clipping. And so if you wanted to like add a spot for eyes, you know, you could maybe turn off X-ray select, but maybe like you're going to like extrude, well, that wouldn't work. But maybe you're going to like soft select and GY move, but that's going to be too big. Middle mouse wheel down, GY. Make a little spot for the eyes. GY. Things like that. Maybe you subdivide again. So, you can add more details and stuff like that. But the other thing I wanted to quickly show you is how you would add clothes. So let's say, you know, this person is fine. It's kind of a nondescript face. Oh, do I want to keep going with this? Yeah, maybe you can pull out his chin a little bit more. Okay, okay. Here we go. You don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. Oh, see, now it's starting to look too weird. I shouldn't have done that. Okay, so let me grab these. Let me just grab this point here. Oh, and I had applied it. Okay, so it's now I just need to undo this. Okay, anyway, clothes. So one of the advantages to doing this box modeling method is that you have really nice geometry that you can pull clothes out of. So the method that I've seen people. So let's say I want to put a shirt on this guy. Here's how you go about it. Grab a. So let's say it's going to be a T-shirt. So I want to make just like or identify a chunk that I'm going to kind of extrude this T-shirt out of. So I would guess a T-shirt would go out to about right here. So I'm actually going to Alt click here to grab this loop, and I'm going to H to hide that, and then find, you know, the corresponding one here. So I think it was like, if that's his shoulder, it goes like 1, 2, 3 more. I'm going to Alt click that loop there, H to hide it, and it would probably go up. Can I select a loop this way, please? There we go. That didn't quite work. There we go. And then H to hide that. And then you kind of want around the waist here too. So Alt click here and H to hide. So now I've just hid, H is hiding those faces. They're not actually removing them. But now I have a nice little island here that we can generate a T-shirt out of. So if I just hover over this, I can do L. Oh, but it didn't. Oh, it's because, shoot, you guys, these are still on the inside here. Okay, I got to redo this real quick. Select these ones, selecting these, deleting these, delete all of these. I undid too many things before. Okay, delete this, all of these, select all these couple at the top. So that remember from when we were doing the UV editing, and the L, tapping L is like the island selection. Delete all these up here. Okay, delete faces. Got it. Okay. Now we can go back out here. Now if I tap L, there we go. It'll just select that part. We're in, I guess, if I do Shift D to duplicate that. And so it's, you know, we have a copy. Oh no, wait, turn off soft selection. So we have a copy of these things, right click to undo that movement, but it's still part of the object. So we need to separate this. So I believe P, it brings up your separate menu, and you have to separate selection. So we can rename this to be like shirt or something like that. Okay, and now we can scale this up, the shirt, with so S. Hold on, sorry. I need to be back in object mode. So here's the shirt. S will just kind of scale it up, you know, as one whole piece. But if you, here's another new tip, Alt S. Actually, so we need to go edit mode. A to select all. Alt S is kind of the shrink and fatten way of scaling. So Alt S, we can scale it up kind of along its normals. So you can make it just a little bit bigger, and then it can be, you know, a shirt. So you can put a different material on this. So this person has a orange shirt like this. We'll go to material preview. Okay, but then we also need to put a different material on their body. So maybe it's like a skin color or something like that. Okay. And so you could do that, and then it's nice because it's like a separate object. So you could have multiple sets of clothes and things like that. Okay. All right, so that's like the box modeling method of creating a character. It's good for like simpler characters, I would say, and it's maybe a little bit it's a little easier if you're going to be animating and stuff like that. If you're wanting a lot of detail, you're going to want to do option 2, which is like the sculpting method. So real quick, I'm gonna put all of these in. I'm just gonna call this box model method, okay? And I'm just gonna disable this. But I didn't. I want to actually take out my reference images like this. So we can turn off that. Okay. The next method is the like sculpting method, and I'm going to go through this just a little bit faster. So how I've seen people do the sculpt method is with spheres, and it doesn't really matter. You can use an icosphere, UV sphere, or whatever. But what you can do is just sort of like rough out the shape of the character using a bunch of different spheres. So like if this is the head, and I want to kind of be careful that I'm doing this kind of symmetrically right along the z-axis, but I'll like, whoops, and I want the sphere selected. I can go GZ, kind of put it in the general spot there, and maybe you can even like kind of like scale it Z like this. And then I'm gonna do a new one. Or maybe I even like Shift D, duplicate it, move Z down. Maybe I can go RY90 and kind of scale it up. And this could be like the shoulders, SX, scale it out like this. Maybe there's another one here. I Shift D, duplicate this, Z, this one's the neck, and I just kind of scale it down. So we're just trying to get like the super rough shape of the body, but using lots of different shapes. So now maybe if I'm going out the arm here, maybe I Shift D, duplicate this and scale it down, and this is like kind of the big shoulder, SZ, scale it up like this. And maybe, maybe I move it back like this, just kind of so it's lined up with the shoulder. And the other thing you can do is you can add mirror modifiers on like this too. So you can do add mirror modifier right here, and we can have you can set a mirror object, and maybe like this one here. Oh, but I want it to be. Oh, it's doing it in the local axes. That's fine, because I've rotated it, so it's doing it the Z like that. That's fine. And maybe sometimes it helps to like name things torso. I'm just gonna name that one torso because I'm gonna be mirroring a lot of things around it. Okay, anyway, so I'm gonna Shift D, duplicate this, and because that one already has the mirror modifier, it's not that big a deal. So I can go SX, scale this one out, maybe scale it down. Okay. Shift D, duplicate that again, maybe rotate it a little bit, scale it down, maybe SX, make it a little longer like that. And then maybe Shift D, add another one, rotate, like, and that's gonna be the hand. And what you could do here is you could do like individual fingers. So maybe actually I make this a lot skinnier, but I go SZ, make it flat, SZ. And then you can get 5 fingers out of here. So Shift D, duplicate, I should do top down view. Shift D, duplicate this. There's the pinky. Shift D. Oh. Maybe make sure these are all like kind of separate. And maybe you're not using icospheres. Maybe you actually use cylinders for something like this. But I'm just trying to show you this one quickly. And maybe this person only has 4 fingers like that, and then a thumb. We're just like trying to rough it out. Okay, and then here, let's kind of just work on the rest of the body. Shift D, maybe R or Y minus 90, go back the other way like this. This can be the torso, then Shift D here. This can be the thigh, scale this down. Rotate it, add a mirror modifier on here. Mirror the torso. There we go. Okay. And then Shift D, duplicate again. Here's the calves. Maybe SZ, make this a little longer in the Z like that. SY, oops, SX. Maybe there's another one for the kneecaps like this, SZ, make them a little rounder, like that. Okay, and then like one more for the feet. Let's just round this out. Shift D here, rotate, and then that's a foot. Okay, doing this super fast. It also is important to make sure that things are kind of touching like that. And maybe I would work on the proportions a little bit more before doing the next step. Okay, but so let's say we're going to sculpt this. Definitely spend more time kind of trying to get the shape of it right. And like maybe you use multiple pieces. Maybe you use like more pieces. Like you have a piece for the hips and then a piece for the tummy. Or you're using boxes instead of icospheres. I was just kind of moving fast. Okay, so now what we need to do is join all these together. So select all these. And we want to join, Control J. You can right click and do join, or, oops, and sorry, at first I needed to apply all the mirror modifiers. So Shift A, apply visual geometry to mesh. There we go. So now we've got everything here. And now we want to Control J, join everything together. So we've got one person, one. Okay, so, but if you were to start sculpting this, so let's say I go to the sculpting mode here. There's still like everything is still like overlapping objects. So and actually let me go back to whatever you call this, solid mode. So and even if I turn on dynamic topology, it's still like it's going to be chunky. So there is another menu here in sculpting that's called ReMesh. And I wonder why the mesh. Oh, okay, got it. I'm glad it told me. ReMesh cannot be run with dynamic topology activated. So turn off dynamic topology first, and you can do ReMesh. So there's a couple things to be aware of. I think this is set to 0 by default. So when you hit ReMesh, let's just see what it does. So if I hit ReMesh, it changes, it remeshes all of these joined objects. And you can see that now, looking inside, it's not a bunch of overlapping objects. It's actually created one hollow body based on all of these things that were connected together. And so now you can actually kind of join things together. So I think earlier in the semester, some of you were asking like, well, how do we, blah, blah, blah. That sounded like I was annoyed with that you were complaining about something. Not true. Okay, and then you can turn dynamic topology back on, and you can start working with the sculpting, making all the cool details that you want. Maybe maybe turning on the mirror sculpting, so you can kind of have symmetrical details on your characters. You can add all the muscles and veins and stuff that you want. So this is the alternate method versus the box model method to do sculpting. And just remember that the distance, if you're using dynamic topology, the distance your camera is, it will impact how big of the details are. And so, and actually here, this was actually trouble because my legs were maybe a little bit too close together when I did the remesh. So just be careful of that. What else was I going to say? So reasons that you would want to do this are probably if the character is not going to be animated. If you want like a really high detailed character that's going to be like a still or on a poster, a piece of art or something like that. In the advanced modeling class for the fall semester, we spend a little bit more time on character creation. And a lot of times, this is probably the preferred method for character modelers, like career character modelers. And they'll make a model that's super duper high detailed, like lots and lots of detailed, like lots of sculpting, all that. And then they do a remesh, but it's sort of like a hand done remesh. And so they'll take the really high res model and they'll sort of like, they're almost like paper mache, simpler polygons on top. And we go through a method of that in the fall semester. And that way it can be better animated or used in a game engine or something like that. Okay. So I feel like I went through that a little bit faster, but I'm just trying to expose you a little bit to how this works. Next week, I'll talk about rigging a character, what that even means for animating and for moving. So you do not need to create a character. And for your assignment 6, I might even provide the one that we put the t-shirt on earlier. I'll provide that to you to animate for assignment 6. So I'm just kind of showing you a couple different things here. Next week, we'll talk about how character animation works, how rigging works, and stuff like that for your assignment 6. So make sure you're wrapping up assignment 5. Can't wait to see it. Please email me if you have questions or other doubts, concerns, and we'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.